All right, and boom, ladies and gentlemen, what is up, everyone? It's me, J-Rod, the filmmaker, former film major, frequent fighting gamer from Philadelphia. And if all of those F sounds, alliterations wasn't enough, we're back with another special episode of First and Final. This is a very exciting show that we do all the time on this channel at this point. You guys can see a bunch of First and Finals from way back to 2021 all the way up until this year for a bunch of projects that I'm excited for. But if this is your first time ever seeing a first and final video, make sure it's not your final time. But basically the concept is that I'm going to take my first reaction to a show or movie or other, and I'm going to take my final thoughts on that show or movie or other. So I take a reaction video and a review and I put them together into one video, and I cut out all the time in between so that you guys can just get my full thoughts on a show or movie or whatever, how I felt about it then, how I feel about it after seeing it, and I put that together just in case anything has changed or not. But today, we've got a very special one for a new Marvel television series, Ironheart. This one, for me personally, I have been anticipating this series for a while now. Ironheart, Riri Williams is a character that's been in the comics for quite a while now, but was introduced into the MCU during Black Panther 2. And she is basically like the spiritual successor of Iron Man. She is, she's an engineer within her own right. She's very intelligent. And after Iron Man sort of passed on the torch, she picked it up and basically built her own suit and became her own hero, and that is what this series is going to be about. As we know, Iron Man in the MCU is like officially gone. Robert Downey Jr. might not be gone. We have some news about him returning, but Iron Man is gone as of Avengers Endgame. So it's actually been quite some time now. It's been like, what, 5-6 years since Iron Man has been gone from the MCU, and we feel that sort of hole, that void that is that character missing in the MCU. So I'm very happy to see how Riri Williams is going to pick up that mantle and become the new Ironheart in the MCU. And I just want to see how is she going to be incorporated into the story. As of the time I'm recording this, I've already seen Thunderbolts and I've already seen Captain America Brave New World, and those two films are kind of competing to establish the new Avengers in the MCU. Well, technically, Thunderbolts consider themselves the new Avengers with a Z, whereas Sam Wilson in the end of his film was like, I'm gonna create my own Avengers team. So I'm excited to see where does Riri Williams fall in that. Obviously, I think she would fall a lot more with Captain America, Sam Wilson's Avengers, than with the new Avengers of the Thunderbolts, because they're I'll just say they're kind of wonky. I love them. They had a really good film, but I think that they are like an island of misfit toys still. And I think Riri would fit more so with the mainstream Avengers. But we'll have to wait and see. We haven't seen her since Black Panther 2, so I'm curious of what she's up to. And I'm excited for this film, or for this series, to take us from where we were at the end of Thunderbolts into where we're going to be in the beginning of Fantastic Four. Maybe there is no connection. Maybe they stand alone. But either way, I'm excited to check that out. Also, some people were worried, myself included a bit, because we went a really long time without getting this trailer. And the show is coming out next month, in about 1 month and 10 days. And that is very close. I'll just say they waited till last minute to actually give us this trailer. So a lot of people were worried, but either way, I'm excited that we finally have it now. I felt like they waited till last minute with like Daredevil Born Again's trailer, but I think we got that sooner than 1 month, right? I think we at least had 2 months between Daredevil's trailer and the actual release. I was supposed to do a first and final video for Daredevil Born Again. I actually recorded my reaction, but I didn't realize until editing it that my mic was muted. So let me make sure right now. Okay, my mic is not muted currently, right? Yes, my mic is not muted currently. So this one should be fine. And when the full series of Ironheart comes out, I will come back and I'll give you guys my final review. And so yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. I can talk more about it afterwards. I will talk more about it afterwards, especially when I give my final thoughts. But for now, let's give ourselves the first reaction to Marvel Television's Ironheart, coming to Disney+. From executive producer Ryan Coogler. That's something else I want to talk about, and we'll talk more about after. The director of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, amongst other things like Sinners.
For real? straight to the device on the floor.
Whose voice is that?
Find a gas mask. Good luck.
Screw this.
Very interesting start. I'm trying to place the voice of who's talking to her. I can't place it. Kind of sounds like Michael B. Jordan, but we know he's kind of dead in the MCU. So
I heard Riri Williams was a genius. So you went her out.
am I supposed to know who that is? I
Riri, I see you. I see you're fed up, waiting to be acknowledged for your.
I think I know the actor, but is he already in the MCU or is he a new character?
You are not the first genius at MIT.
Oh wow, there's a
How come
couple
you're not working at
new
one of
characters
those
here.
fancy tech firms?
After my internship abroad, I want to build something undeniable. Something
Important?
iconic.
I think
Okay,
you need the tools to help you carry out your vision.
money.
But anyone who's ever accomplished anything iconic in life has had to do some questionable things to get it done.
Questionable
What will
thing.
you do, Riri?
And they're making it rain. Hey yo.
A hell of a lot more than you can chew. I could chew a lot.
Hey yo.
You know nothing about this man.
What, he got 2 pistols?
You're gonna end up dead or in jail.
This is so
Is he
much
is he
bigger
the
than
is it Cloak? Not Cloak. I think I know the character now.
This is wild. A shady bunker.
My bunker's not shady. Would a shady bunker have that on the wall?
It's literally above a crate of self-guided missiles.
I'm returning those.
It's pretty shady. Okay, this actually looks really good. I didn't really know what to expect, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Okay, the character, I'm trying to remember what the guy's name is. I saw this character. He was introduced, well, not introduced. He was already in the Marvel universe, but he was featured in an episode of Marvel's What If when there was like a Shang-Chi episode where it was set back in the Marvel Western. The Marvel Western universe. The villain in that one, I think, is who this guy is playing. It's not Cloak. The Hood? Is it the Hood? I think it might be the Hood. That might be what I'm thinking of. I think that's who this guy is. But other than that, I have no idea. I kind of want to look it up, but at the same time, I just want to be surprised when I actually see the film. Because honestly, this trailer actually was a bit of a surprise for me. I didn't know what they were going for, but I do kind of like this sort of dark underworld sort of spin. Like, I think Riri wants to do all of her stuff above board, in the light, and, you know, be the new hero. But I'm guessing that it probably takes some funding that she doesn't have. That's one of the differences between her and Tony Stark. Tony Stark, like, inherited all of this money in an entire company, and he already had millions of dollars to do whatever he wanted. I can imagine that Riri wants to do the same things, but she needs a little bit of support, financial support, or materials, or space, or like whatever it is. So that'll probably be how she gets mixed up in this sort of like underworld plot with these seedy financiers that are, I guess, I don't know what they do. There's some sort of like shady eco-terrorist group. I really don't know, but I'm actually excited to really check it out. This guy has me really excited, and it looks fun. It looks really good. Riri Williams was one of my favorite parts of Black Panther 2, and I probably will be rewatching Black Panther 2 ahead of Ironheart, because I mean, she's just hilarious. Her character is just really good, really outgoing, and instantly you just kind of fall in love with her. And so I'm excited for her to actually lead her own series, and it looks really good. Like, I can't think of anything bad about this so far. The VFX look really good. The suit looks amazing. I'm excited to see her character flourish a little bit more. And like I said earlier, I am excited to see like how this branches where we were in the MCU with where we're going to be going forward. This might not have any sort of connection to like Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, but either way, we know where we're going to end off for the most part this year of the MCU, we have no idea where we're really gonna go next year in the MCU. I mean, we do have like Avengers Doomsday is in production now. The new Spider-Man film is in production now, slated for next year. So we know what what properties they're gonna go for. They're kind of trying to go back to like the big names, the household names, the big blockbuster moments. But is Riri? Now I have to go back to when they announced all the casting choices that they made for Avengers Doomsday. Is Riri confirmed for Avengers Doomsday? I gotta see that. I would like to know that, because I do feel like she should be in the new Avengers team. And who else is in this new Avengers team? Anyone could tell, because there's so many characters at this point. Like, Shang-Chi has been on ice for so long. She-Hulk is like in space or something, but we still even have Hulk, regular Hulk, and we have his son Scar as of the end of that series. So there's so many characters that could be Avengers in this next film. I'm excited to see who actually are the Avengers in this next film. Also, like they showed, Ryan Coogler is going to be producing this film, hot off of the biggest movie of the year, Sinners. And I say that confidently, knowing that this video is not going to come out for about a month, maybe 2 months. I don't think there's going to be any movie topping Sinners in a month or 2 months. I think that I can confidently say this is probably, Sinners is the best movie of the year so far. And coming off of that type of hype, I mean, Ryan Coogler already had an insane amount of hype after Fruitvale Station, Creed 1 and 2. Insane body of work for Ryan Coogler, and I'm pretty sure that this is going to be another really good one. So I cannot wait for Ironheart. Comes out in about 1 month, and I'm definitely going to check it out. I've heard some rumors that they're changing up maybe the airing schedule. So it's supposed to drop, the first 3 episodes I think are going to drop in June, and then I'm wondering if they're going to do after that 1 episode at a time, or if they're going to do multiple episodes at a time. Because with Andor, which just recently finished up, they did 3 episodes a week for Andor, and I think that's them trying out new sort of strategies for how they release stuff. And I actually really like the 3 episodes a week. I like that we didn't have to wait week to week. I like that it wrapped up in a shorter amount of time, but we still got a good amount of episodes. Like 9 episodes for a series is really good. It's a lot better than the old 6 episodes. So I'm hoping for this one, regardless of if it's multiple episodes a week or not, I'm hoping we get at least 8 episodes of Ironheart. I'm actually really excited to see where this goes, and I cannot wait. But that's all I can say for now until June, when I actually check out the series and give you guys my final thoughts. So I've got this sort of suit thing that Riri made for me. It's not an Iron Man suit, but apparently I'm supposed to get inside of it and I can travel through time. And that's going to take me forward about a month and a couple days to when this full series is out. And I can give you guys my full review and tell you how I feel about the full series of Ironheart. Hopefully I don't go too far in the future and I end up like, you know, the Fantastic Four or something. But either way, I am very excited for Ironheart to come out, and I cannot wait to give you guys my final thoughts. So I'm going to pass it over to myself in the future. All right, and boom, I'm back, everybody. I put on the suit. I went through the wormhole. It did not work as expected. Something about Pym particles. I ended up going back in time. At first, we went back to the first time I ever saw the first Iron Man film in theaters, which was a long time ago. Then I went back to Avengers Endgame when we lost Iron Man. Then after that, I went back to Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. Decided to check that out again and see our first appearance of Riri Williams in the MCU. But then I got it to work. We made it go forward. I switched it to Wumbo, and now I am here in the future. Okay, well, I'm actually in the present day for you guys, but I'm in the future relative to where I was in the first part of the video when I was reacting to the first ever trailer for Ironheart. So yeah, I recorded that trailer reaction back in May, my first ever reaction to Ironheart. We were worried because it took so long for us to get any word on Ironheart, but we did eventually get the rollout that we were looking for. And I do appreciate the rollout. It was very late, but I got to see Dominique Thorne and Anthony Ramos and a bunch of people from the cast do a bunch of really cool stuff. You know, go and talk about STEM with kids and promote Ironheart, or show off behind the scenes of the suit. And we got to see the actual practical Ironheart suit. Well, one of them, we'll talk more about that later. and some BTS of that. And they also dropped the Marvel's, they call it like Avengers Assemble, which is like their BTS thing that they do for Disney Plus. They dropped one for Wakanda Forever, where they talked about the fact that Dominique Thorne originally auditioned to play Shuri, and while she didn't get that part, it was so exciting that they got to bring her back eventually as Riri Williams in Black Panther 2, and then now officially in her own series. So it has been a lot. I mean, a lot of stuff has been happening recently with the show, but I think we want to hear what are my final thoughts about Ironheart in general. I have seen the entire show, all 6 episodes, and we are going to talk about that right now. I'm going to start with my spoiler-free thoughts for a bit, then I'm going to get into the spoilers, and we're going to talk a little bit about the show as a whole. How do I feel? What are my spoiler-free thoughts about Ironheart now that I have seen the entire show? I love it. I don't just like it. I love it. I loved Ironheart. I thought it was really good. I loved seeing Riri Williams on screen again. I think that this show put her in a completely different light, so I appreciate it like an extra layer that they added on to the character. I loved it in just many ways. I think the strongest part of this series is just the characters, their interactions with each other, and the story created there. But it is still, at the same time, an MCU project. So there is action, there is intrigue, there is tech, but there's also magic. There's a bunch of really interesting new characters in this. And so whether you're going into it looking for a very personal, familial, down-to-earth story about, you know, the relationship between characters, the distance between these characters, you're going to get a really good story. But if you're going in it just for the bells and the whistles, the action scenes, the cool tech stuff, the VFX, the magic mixed in, and the Easter eggs from throughout the MCU, it has that as well. It fires on both cylinders at once, and you can make up your mind on which part of the show you appreciate more. Obviously, there was a little bit of discourse about Ironheart going into it. You know, there's a certain audience of people who feel like maybe Riri Williams didn't deserve her own show, or maybe it should have been someone else. And they were all wrong. I mean, I can confidently say this. They don't know what they're talking about. They have these personal biases and vendettas that make it so that they refuse to relate to this show and to this character. But it's so easy to enjoy this show. It's just so fun. It's so down to earth. It's so it's so feel good. This is a very feel good show, even though it does deal with some actually pretty serious subject matter. But at the same time, it manages to be a very down to earth and personal series, and I really appreciate Ironheart. I think it came at a perfect time. I think that Dominique Thorne was amazing in it, but so was the rest of the cast and crew. VFX, I want to talk a lot more about the VFX, but my spoiler-free problem I had with the show is that there was not enough of Ironheart. Only 6 episodes was not enough. This should have been at least 8 episodes. I could have watched it for 9 to 10 episodes. I thought we learned our lesson. I thought we were done with these 6-episode Marvel TV shows because most of them don't work. I think that the only 6-episode Marvel show that I think worked great was Loki season 1. After that, every other 6-episode show just felt like it could have given us more. And then once they started to increase the episode count, I believe like with Echo, with Daredevil Born Again, you saw that there was like a real benefit from having more episodes and having more time to actually delve into these characters a little deeper. So I thought that we had all learned from that. Then we go into Ironheart with 6 episodes and it seems like, okay, maybe not. But also, I didn't actually, you know, I think that they did a really good story within that 6 episodes. I think they used their time really well. There wasn't really a part of the show that felt rushed, in my opinion. So within that parameter of 6 episodes, they really did give us a whole story, beginning, middle, and end. I just would have watched more. I would watch another season of this tomorrow if it came out. I want to rewatch this first season, and I haven't rewatched a Marvel show since like WandaVision. So I'm really excited for this show. I think it's really good, successful in many of the things that it tried to do. But if you really just want to brain off and enjoy a project, this is just one that is so easy to get into and so easy to enjoy. I loved Ironheart. That was it. And honestly, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I think that this is my favorite Marvel project of the year so far. We've already had Captain America Brave New World. We've already had the Thunderbolts, and they were both good. I made a first and final video for both of those, and I really enjoyed it. We also had Daredevil Born Again, talked a bit about that earlier, and I enjoyed all three of those projects, but I just really felt something when I watched this one. You know, I felt personally connected and invested in this story. I just really enjoyed it, and I need more. I need more of it. More of these characters. Riri herself, but also there's some really good characters in the periphery, on the sides here. And just more in this part of the universe. I feel like this area, Chicago, seems like untapped potential. You know, this isn't New York where there's a superhero on every single street corner, where so much stuff has happened. There's so much history. This feels like a fresh, new proving ground for Marvel. And I would love for them to make more stories, even if it's not just in Chicago, but make more stories in the areas of the universe that feel a little less, or a little less developed, you know. So I think that's everything that I can say about Ironheart without getting into spoilers. So we're not going to waste any more time, and we are going to get into spoilers. So let's do that. This is your official spoiler warning. Listen out for the spoiler bell. I made this spoiler alert myself. Do you like that? I'm a bit of an engineer myself, if I do say so. But we're going to talk about the entire show, get into the spoilers a little bit more, and I'm going to give you guys my full review. My other problem with this show is that people within the universe were not excited enough to see Riri. We're not hype enough when she would do something like this scene here where she's taking off in the suit, or this scene where she's landing in the suit and hops out seamlessly. People in the universe watching this need to be going crazy like I was, because this is so cool. It is so exciting to see a practical suit again for an Iron character in the MCU. They went like full nano, which was cool and which was convenient for what they were doing. But the practical suit just looks so cool. And you also get to see scenes of her like putting it up and moving it around and carrying it and interacting with it, touching it, having it touch other things. That level of just realism that you get from practical effects really went so far in selling it. And when they, in the BTS that I watched and they talked about the suit, they talked about how the suit itself is basically a character. And I think it really did feel like a character in this show. And that's something that they would not have been able to do with a fully CGI suit like they've been using in the more recent Marvel films. So we start off with checking in. The first 3 episodes really did have to set up where was Riri, where has she been, what has she been up to, where does she want to go in the future, and then establishing all of the new characters that are going to be interacting with her. That's family, friends, foes, and everybody else in between. So I think that I did feel like the first 3 episodes were a bit slow, but I understand why they were, because they had a lot of ground to cover. And since it was only a 6-episode show, I get why they had to do a lot of the exposition and a lot of the groundwork in these first 3 episodes. But we start off with the first suit, the MIT suit that Riri built while she was studying at school. She gets expelled. Is absolutely crazy. I wish we got just a little bit more of her in MIT, because she was there when Wakanda Forever started. She was there in the beginning of Ironheart, but we really don't get anything about her life as a student. We know that she, you know, does people's papers for them here and there, and that's kind of what got her expelled, a little bit of plagiarism here and there. And we know that she's building her own suit with a grant that she earned while she was at MIT. But we don't actually get to see her in that college life, which I would love. And if this show had a couple more episodes, I think they could have been able to pull that off. But this is like a homecoming. This is Riri coming back home to see her family, to see her friends that she hasn't seen in a while. And it also does a lot of developing and giving exposition of her character before the events of Wakanda Forever. So we get to learn about her stepdad, Gary, and her best friend, Natalie, who both passed away due to gun violence in her area, and how that is actually a part of her story, that something we had never seen before in Wakanda Forever, but it is very important to her moving forward, because she's actually dealing a lot with the stress, the PTSD, and the anxiety that comes from that event. This instantly reminded me of Iron Man 3. I mean, I wish it was a little less on the nose, but it is exactly that. You know, dealing with the anxiety while being in an Iron Man suit was Iron Man 3 and was one of the most memorable parts of that. So I like how Riri got her own version of this story, and it's kind of night and day from her portrayal in Wakanda Forever, where in that movie she is on it. She's upbeat, she is funny, she is energetic, always on it. And this one, you really get to see the other side of her, where she's a lot more contemplative. She is a lot more stressed out and thinking about how she can deal with her current situation. And that was pretty interesting. But speaking of the past Iron Man films, we do have a direct tie-in to Iron Man 1, where we're introduced to a new character who turns out to be the son of Obadiah Stane. This was, I mean, it's something you would expect, you know, a little bit of Iron Man 1 in Ironheart, like calling all the way back. But I think that I like how there's a new dynamic between these characters. Yes, we had Iron Man versus Obadiah Stane in the first movie. Now we have Riri Williams versus Ezekiel Stane, but they actually don't start off as enemies. They start off as...
We're co-workers.
Co-workers, right. Yeah, we work in the same cohort.
I wouldn't say friends, but I would kind of say that they were kind of using each other for resources and or information. There were a lot of surprises in Ironheart. I feel like we knew about the show was going to be about Riri trying to get enough money and resources to make her own suit. We knew that. But the surprise element comes in where now we're dealing with magic, and we're dealing with a group of thieves, I guess, like a guild almost, a thieves guild, who use magic, and they're led by the Hood himself. Then, like, we knew this was going to be a story about her persevering and engineering to make her new suit, but the bonus story, the B plot of her building her own AI that is basically the consciousness of her past friend Natalie, that was a bit of a surprise. I didn't know anything about that part of the story. I didn't expect it. And it was a really fun and grounded emotional story for Riri Williams. It was basically like Weird Science is what it reminded me of. She basically made a person out of science. And the interaction between Natalie and Riri was so good. I love the way they wrote it, because the way that Riri feels about the Natalie AI is similar to how I felt about it. When you first see it, it's a bit off-putting. It's a bit weird, and you're thinking about, like, do we even need this AI character? She's sassy. She doesn't actually do everything you tell her to. She always has something to say back. She doesn't actually listen all the time. But then you just start to grow and love her more and more with every episode, and you realize that this actually is the AI that Riri needs, because sometimes she needs someone to bounce those ideas off. She needs someone to push back against her, and all of that really helps her in a way that Jarvis probably would never do for her. So I really love that element of it, and that B story goes to be one of the most important stories that leads us all the way through. But then we start to get into, at the end of the first 3 episodes, we do start to get into what are the actual stakes here, and the stakes kind of elevate pretty fast. She's working with this crew. She's bribing, or she's manipulating Ezekiel Stane into giving her this tech so that she can manipulate the cloak itself, or the hood itself, in order to give her answers about the crew. And all of that kind of collapses on top of each other. I do like this kind of element of she's in over her head from the beginning, but it just keeps piling on and piling on and piling on. But the first 3 episodes, like I said, they were mostly about just establishing everything. Who are the players? Who are the heroes, the villains, the friends, the foes? How is everything going to come together? And what are we going to have to deal with in the final 3 episodes? The final 3 episodes is where this show really shines and where it really picks up. This is where we just get into, like, the action of it. We get into really dealing with the stakes of it. We get into what the cost of all of this is on Riri, because she is dealing with that stress and anxiety, like I said, and it's piling on with every episode. The fact that she has, you know, and then initially she's just dealing with trying to live up to the expectations that she's put on herself to be this new Iron Man type figure, but to be that for her family, her community, and protect the people that she loved, that she was never able to protect when she was younger. But then you add the added pressures of dealing with this new crew who are doing some pretty shady and illegal things, dealing with Ezekiel Stane, who has certain expectations of her, and quickly they are turned against each other by the circumstances, dealing with magic and the hood and all of that, dealing with Natalie, dealing with her family. All of that comes together and comes to a head in the final 3 episodes. Another element of the surprise is how deep they go into the magic element. Like, it would have been really cool if it was just Riri and her tech versus the hood and his magic, but she actually has her own magic in her corner. That is the cue for Zelma Stanton, and I really love this character. Not just Zelma Stanton, but also her mother, played by Cree Summers. They are so good. The scene with Zelma, her mom, Riri, and her mom all together in the shop is so good because the way that they just play off of each other, you really get like the closeness, the actual how comfortable they are with each other. Yeah, so that just was one of my favorite scenes in the entire show because it's just fun, and I do love that kind of counter, that play between the tech elements and the magic elements, which they carry through to the end of the show because Riri is trying to infuse her newest suit with magic. Pretty interesting idea. She uses the piece of the hood that she recovered in the first 3 episodes, and she does manage to successfully infuse her suit with magic. A bit of a surprise because I didn't expect her to so easily embrace magic and utilize it. But that goes into the final episode where we get the big villain showdown. Riri versus the Hood, but also Riri versus Ezekiel Stain, as he's like the sub-boss at this point. Just when you think it's over, because Riri took out her sub-boss and her main boss, both of her villains that stood in her way of achieving what she wants, then they introduce a new character to the MCU that people have been waiting for years, maybe even longer. I would say we've been waiting at least since WandaVision, but definitely some people have been waiting longer to see Mephisto in the MCU, and he is officially in the MCU with Ironheart. Another surprise, like I said, portrayed by Sacha Baron Cohen, something I just did not expect, but the portrayal was really good. He had that sort of suave and seductive nature where you know that what he's offering you is going to be trouble, but you just can't really resist the call. And the final surprise of the show is that Riri couldn't resist the call either, and she makes a deal with Mephisto to get her friend Natalie back. Not Natalie the AI, which she lost when she infused the suit with magic, but the real Natalie is brought back to life with Mephisto's magic. We have no idea what that is going to cost Riri. We have no idea what the implications of that are going to be and what Mephisto is going to expect from her moving forward in the MCU. But this was a very unexpected twist for me personally. And I thought it was a really good way to end off the show because I am just I'm just caught up in what is going to happen next. What is this going to mean for Riri's involvement in the MCU? What is this going to mean for Natalie, for Mephisto moving forward? It seems like now that these characters are kind of intertwined. Riri and Natalie already were, but now Mephisto is intertwined with Riri's destiny. So whenever we see her next in the MCU, Mephisto might be right along with her. And I want to see, how does she deal with that? Are they setting up for him to be the big bad of season 2 that Riri is going to have to defeat? Or are they setting up for him to just be like the devil on her shoulder that is always there as she progresses through the MCU? I have no idea, but I am really excited to find out. But that is basically a little summary of everything that went down in Ironheart. And I just loved it. I thought it was really good, really successful, a really fun watch, and I can't wait to watch it again. Right now, it is my favorite Marvel thing of this year, but we still have 2 more entries coming in. Fantastic Four First Steps will be at the end of this month. I'm expecting to like that a lot. That one actually could definitely take the reins of my favorite Marvel project of the year. And then there's also supposed to be Wonder Man at the end of the year. We're still a ways off from that, so I have no idea if something fell through or if it has to get pushed back, rearranged, or what. But I'll be excited to check that out. I have absolutely no expectations for Wonder Man, so I'm excited to see what it does and what it brings to the MCU. Similar to this, I had expectations for Ironheart. I expected to like it, but I ended up loving it. So we'll see what that means for the future of the MCU. I am excited for Fantastic Four. I will be seeing it probably first week, fingers crossed, unless something crazy happens. I already have my ticket to see Superman. I'll be seeing that next week. My review won't be out next Friday, but it'll be out the Friday after that, because next Friday we'll be playing Tekken with Fakam Ram. But that is going to be it for this another episode of First and Final. Check out my last few First and Final videos. We did one for the Thunderbolts. We did one for Captain America Brave New World. We did one for Andor. In the past, we did one for Wakanda Forever, so check that one out as well. We've done a bunch of Marvel stuff, but we've also done some things outside of Marvel. And we might be getting I say this every time we do another First and Final video, but I'm still waiting for the Mortal Kombat movie trailer for Mortal Kombat 2. Because the first and final video I ever made was for the first Mortal Kombat movie. Not the first one, but the one that came out in 2021. So I'm excited to see what the new Mortal Kombat movie is coming out. It's still slated for October of this year, but we have not seen a single trailer of it yet. But that is going to be it for this one, you guys. Tell me how you felt about Ironheart. Do me a favor, boom, hit me with the 3-hit combo. I need you to smash the like button like Iron Man, spear the subscribe button like Black Panther, kick the notification bell like Ironheart herself, and tell me how you guys felt about the show. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, and no show is. Nothing's made for everyone, right? Because it won't successfully appeal to everyone, because everyone has broadly different tastes and expectations for a project. But that's what makes them special. You know, everything isn't for everybody, but the things that are for you are special because they're for you, right? So even if this isn't a thing for you, I think that's perfectly fine, but I wouldn't dwell on it, you know? I would go out there and find the things that you enjoy, that make you happy, the same way that Ironheart made me happy, because they're out there. Everyone has their own things. But that is going to be it for this one. Another episode of First and Final. Tell me how you felt about Ironheart. Tell me what you want to see me react to and review next, even though we already are going to do Superman, Fantastic Four, First Steps, and a bunch more stuff after this. But that's going to be it for this one, you guys. So tell me how you feel. Tell me if you feel me. And I will see you next time in another new one. Peace out. Human Torch, if he hit a bit harder.
You are nothing!
What the hell was that? She killed Hela with that? What?